Let me ask you something. Have you ever come back from a trip that you went on, maybe by yourself, without your family, without the people that you spend all this time with, and and you're alone and you're like, just being with yourself and without the people that you're always around. And then you come back from the trip and you're a little bit expanded, and then something happens and it immediately brings you back right back to where you were with that person, in the habits that you were with that person. This happened to me last week. I took my daughter off to orientation at the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and my husband picked us up from the airport, and we get in the car and we're talking about stuff, and immediately he asks me, well, what about the financial aid thing? What's happening with that? And I had sent him, I took notes on my phone, and I had sent him exactly that note that I took. So all of the information I sent him. And in the past, when he asked me a question, I would immediately go, okay, must answer it right now. And that might have something to do with the fact that he used to be my boss. So I might have some of that still stuck in there. But instead of saying, oh, I must answer it right now, because we were driving and I was also navigating on my phone, I was like, well, I paused for a minute and I noticed and I took a breath and I said, well, I sent you that information already and I can't look it up right now because I'm navigating. But it was like such a shift because I typically would answer him immediately. Like, he needs something, let's get back to him. Why not? Like, there's no shame in that. But I couldn't. So, and I noticed it and he noticed it. Like, we were both like, what? And that's because I had taken a little time off and come back to him and I was a little bit shifted. And I think that's just what all of this stuff is about. It's all about those tiny little micro shifts that get us out of whatever habit that we're used to and move us into something that is more us and less our just conditioned patterned habit that doesn't really serve us. Like, it doesn't serve me to immediately go figure out. I mean, sometimes it does, but while I was driving, navigating, and I'd given him the information already, like, it really didn't serve me in that moment to look it up and figure it out again. So I'm saying all of this to say that these little shifts are available to us. And if we are feeling stuck, like we cannot move out of our old patterns, we absolutely can. And that's why I read and reread these books. So, welcome to my book club. My name is Carrie. The book club is called Naked and Unafraid. And we read two books on repeat. We are about to finish this book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I'm very excited. These last four chapters are mind-blowing. And we also read A Woman's Guide to Power, Unbound by Kasia Urbaniak. And the reason I call the book club Naked and Unafraid is because we have these conditions, these patterns, these habits that we just have layered on top of us, and we can get rid of them and be naked. I like to think to myself that I am getting back to that kid that I was at 5 that just like danced everywhere and didn't care. And I mean, even 5 is probably a little too late, but that is my goal, is to be that kid again at 5 that is just laughing out loud, thrilled to do whatever and not care what anybody thinks. And to do that, I have to get rid of the habits that I put on top of myself, that are put on us by society, by, oh, you can't do that, Carrie, by our girlfriends, by, like, it just happens. It's a natural thing. There's no shame in the fact that we do it. But we're going to be happier when we can remove all that stuff. So that's why I read the books. The book club is called Naked and Afraid. I talked about that already. And I'll talk a little bit about each chapter and then I'll open it up for discussion. And if you guys have anything to talk about, that's cool. If you don't, we'll just keep rolling. And let's see. Oh, I put this on YouTube. So if you do not want to be on YouTube, then just do not talk and the camera will not pick you up. And if you have a question, you can put it in the chat and I will try and get it because I've been practicing that habit of looking in the chat and seeing who's talking. So, are you guys ready? I like to start with what did we discuss last week? So, last week we talked about chapters 13 through 15. And chapter 13 was called Far, Far Beyond, and it's about moving outside of the boundaries that we have made for ourselves. So there's a really good tiger in a cage metaphor. There's a really, really good dog with an electric collar hitting up against an electric fence metaphor. And we need to move beyond that stuff in order to grow. Chapter 14 is called Letting Go of False Solidity, and it's about how hard we work to maintain this model in our head that we have. You know, Carrie, I'm a woman, I'm married to Rod, I have two kids, I live in Northern California. Like any of those things could change. And would my identity fall apart? It would, but that identity is so tenuous, like it really is. So why am I holding on to it? That's chapter 14. Chapter 15. This was a good one. The path of unconditional happiness. He tells us we have one question to ask ourselves. Do we want to be happy or not, regardless of what happens? So that's all that we discussed last week. Do you guys have any comments or ahas or, oh my God, I was thinking about the electric fence and the dog and I totally like pushed up against it and moved past it. Any celebrations from what you've done last week? And if you don't, then we can move on to chapter 16.
You know, when you said it, it just reminded me of something that I heard from, I think it was, who is it? Anyway, one of these motivational speakers
Right.
who said, think about it this way. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah, that's really good.
And I'm just like, when I get all stressed out and just want to kill everybody because they're not right, it's just like, okay. Do you
Yeah,
want to be right or do you want to be happy?
exactly. That's so good, Fee. And also, like, what is right? Like, we could, talk for an hour about that because, yeah, we could talk for an hour about that. But I love that. And I think about that a lot. And might say that a lot to my husband. Because there's this, natural, which is so stupid. Like, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Yes. No, I want to be happy, 100%. All right, let's move on to chapter 16, which is called The Spiritual Path of Non-Resistance. So this chapter is all about resistance, and when we sense resistance, we think life is stressful, but it's not actually the things that are happening in our lives. It is our resistance to those things. That's what's so hard for me too. But instead of saying, oh, it's cloudy today, why am I resisting that? Like that is what's happening. So if I just release that resistance and let go and relax and approve of the fact that I might have thoughts about the fact that it's cloudy, then I can start to chip away at my preference for it to be sunny. So it's not about our resistance to, oh, what did I just say? It's so hard. He's just saying that the events are going to happen, like life is going to happen. And if we resist them as they happen, that's what causes the stress. So I think about this a lot, and anything that I might have resistance to, I try and let go. I try and just relax through it. Because he says that the moment that we resist that thing, that's when we start to trap that energy inside of us. And that's when we create that little energy ball that is going to stay trapped inside of us. And that is what causes us to have discomfort. Because if I trap something, oh, he talked about a story about somebody went through a breakup and it was azalea season and maybe they were on the phone. Well, there weren't phones when he wrote the book. There weren't phones that were like this, but they wandered through some azaleas and somehow the breakup and the azaleas got kind of linked. And so now whenever this person sees azaleas, they think about this breakup and they are triggered and they are not happy and they don't like azaleas. So they see azaleas, they're resistant to them. They don't want to put azaleas in their yard. Instead of instead of feeling that resistance and being, no, no azaleas, feel that resistance and be like, oh, well, relax, and then think, why am I resistant to azaleas? I mean, he says we don't have to locate why, but I find it, my mind wants to know. My mind wants to know, why am I resistant to azaleas? Oh, and sometimes if I can link it to that thing, I can let go better. But he says we don't have to know. We just have to know that we have a resistance to something. And instead of resisting that thing, we let go of that resistance. So it's a really good practice to have. Like, why am I, oh, it comes up so much with my husband. Why am I resistant to go talk to him about this thing? And that means I gotta go talk to him, like, regardless of how scared I am. I'm like that dog that moves up against that fence and feels that resistance, feels that tremor, and, is scared. And then I just go talk to him. Like, why am I resisting? He also says in this chapter that we resist with our willpower, and our willpower is the strongest thing we have. It is the thing that, allows me to pick up my arm. It is everything. We have that willpower that says, oh, am I going to resist this thing or am I just going to let it happen? And we do that with willpower. That's another thing. The willpower, we can hold on to our thoughts. We brace against what's happening. Oh my God, it's cloudy. I'm going to then hold on to that thing and I'm going to maybe store that inside. And then anytime there's cloudiness, it becomes bigger, like why resist it? Just fall into it. We're not resisting what actually happened. We're resisting letting it move through us. And think about it this way. If we're resisting it, if I'm going, oh God, it's cloudy. Okay, one little line that I just said there. I felt something right there. That is energy. I am expending energy saying, I don't want it to be cloudy. I'm expending energy, feeling in my body, oh God, it's cloudy. I mean, that was maybe, I don't know, 45 seconds I talked about that. What else could I be doing with those 45 seconds? And that stacks up. It's not just the cloudiness. It's like, think of all the things that we resist in our day. That stacks up. If we were not spending our energy resisting, what could we possibly be spending our energy doing? It's mind-blowing. We could be so much more efficient and productive doing something that actually mattered, other than talking about the cloudiness. It's ridiculous. All right. He then says that I mean, the cloudiness is one thing, but even replaying, like I had a little text argument with my husband yesterday, even replaying that in my head, even rereading that text is a waste of my energy. It happened, it's gone. Why? Why think about it anymore? And we can all think of things that are heavier, that we've stored, that carry a lot more weight than this, stupid text conversation that I had with my husband yesterday. But it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. And I know that's really hard, but we only have so much time. We only have so much time in the day. Only have so much time in our lives. So why are we spending our precious energy focusing on something that happened in the past that we cannot change? I mean, imagine all the stuff we could be doing. That blows my mind. All right, that is chapter 16. Ladies, do you have any comments about chapter 16 before we launch into one of my favorite chapters? All right. Chapter 17 is called Contemplating Death. Carrie, why is this one of your favorite chapters? Carrie, why do you send this chapter to everyone you know and ask them to read it? Because when you think about the fact that death is going to happen, when we think about imagining, he has this whole thing in the book about imagine if you were told by a doctor that you had a week to live. What would you do with that week? You'd want to go outside. It would be rainy. You would not care. It would be cloudy. You would not care. But what do? We go, oh, it's cloudy. Oh, it's rainy. Oh, I don't want to get wet. I don't want to deal with it. Imagine if you only had a week to live. And we don't know. Like, we could, honestly, we could be gone tomorrow. So, what are we doing with today? If we know that tomorrow is going to come, like it's going to happen, none of us are going to live forever. So, if we know that death is going to happen, why are we not? Like this, whenever I read this chapter, I want to go hug my husband. Why are we not spending every moment doing all the things, all the things? And why are we complaining about them? And so I don't know. This chapter is so profound for me, and whenever I read it, I immediately think, "Oh my God, like this is why I'm doing all of my life because it's going to go away." All right. What else did I write? Oh, okay. So he also wrote in this chapter that there's a story of a yogi who lived as if a knife hung over his head by a spider web. He just like imagined that at all times happening. Imagine if we lived our life like 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 we were going to die. Oh my God, we would be on fire. Like, why would I be ever complaining about the cloudiness? Why would I ever be looking back on a text message that I sent my husband yesterday? I mean, if I have a knife above my head that it's going to come down and strike me and I'm going to be gone, does it matter? Does the text message I sent my husband yesterday matter? It does not. I love this chapter. All right. And he says that when we're no longer afraid to die, we just start living fully because we remember that we'll lose every moment. So every moment matters. It's just, I mean, I think I could probably read this chapter every day and just grow by reading it every day. So that is what I have for chapter 17 that I love, that is sometimes challenging for other people. Do you guys have any comments?
This one really speaks to me. Um, a year ago, I did a mushroom journey with two guides and three other women. But before I did it, I had to be accepted by these. The guides were two women in their 70s who've been doing this work for a long time. And first I had to basically have an interview to see if I was a candidate for it. And then I had to write my whole autobiography.
Wow.
And there were a lot of prompts. And then I had another hour meeting with the two teachers. And the one asked me a question about death. And I said, well, I'm my kid's only parent. I can't die, right? Like, that's why I do all these things to live.
Right, right.
And she said, oh, you're going to die. Like, basically, that was going to be part of my journey. Um,
Oh
and
God.
so it was amazing to get to go through this and to give you guys some background. I don't drink. I don't use any recreational drugs at all on a regular basis. And so this journey was it was, it was an amazing experience for me. It was an amazing experience. The other women, like I was so into it. I literally thought the three other women were actors representing different parts of my life. And, towards the end, I was like, I thanked them all for being there. But
Right.
saying this in that, you know, the way that that helped me to live more and better after going through
Oh,
that.
I love that. Love that so much.
And then for me today, I wasn't sure if I was coming on this. My father-in-law died overnight last night.
I'm so sorry.
Uh, thank you. And it's, um, my fears are all for my children who lost their dad 4 years ago of what it brings back to them. But it's again like a gift. He was almost 90. Um, he went peacefully in his sleep after having a fall and going through all the crap that people do sometimes. And it was such a reminder to, live like you're dying. I mean,
Yeah.
like, live the life you want to live.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every time I think about it, every time I think about it, I get that reminder. And I love that you shared with us the mushroom journey. I know a lot of people are doing that and also like MDMA kind of things. And it's all like fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me.
It was the two guides were incredible. The three other women who I did it with were incredible. Um, they did what they consider a medicine wheel journey. And so it was divine feminine, divine masculine, and during the divine masculine, the biggest storm you can ever imagine hit. And, you know, one of the guides thought that uh, the power might go out. It was that bad. And you know what she was going to do if that happened. But um, it was a phenomenal experience of the death part for me was all about love and um, just again, how I don't like to word lucky, grateful I
Yeah.
am for this life we get to lead, I guess.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
in days like today when I'm really sad and just wanted to curl up in a ball on the couch and go to sleep. um, so yeah,
Well, thank you for joining us, Kim. I'm so grateful that you're actually here.
me too. Thank you guys.
All right, so chapter 18. This one's kind of tough for me, but talks about how he can't write a book about spirituality without talking about the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. And the Tao is the chapter is called The Secret of the Middle Way. And the Tao is all about how things come to equilibrium. And we want to go over here and do this thing. We scramble over here to do this thing. And then the pendulum swings back over here and we scramble over here to do this thing. And if we just kind of could let it be in the middle, we would be more clear and more direct and more efficient. But instead, what we do is the path that we take is we go over here, we do this, we do that, we go there, we go there, we go that way because we have to redo the pendulum because it swung that way. And all of that takes energy. Like we're doing all of this stuff. And if we just could let it settle in the middle and take the direct path, it would be more efficient. And that's kind of basically the Tao. Let me see what else I wrote about it. And I think it's so fascinating to me that, he talks about the Tao being the one thing that he has to talk about in this book. And also, Kasha, who wrote the other book, studied Taoism, like the two kind of come together in that way. Okay, so I wrote down the farther it swings, the longer it takes to come back to center. And every swing burns energy, reacting, correcting, defending. And like we can think about it in terms of just in terms of eating. We if we overeat, we're not happy, and then we might try and adjust it by not eating, and not eating enough isn't good for us. So, it's just if you sometimes if I think about it that way, it helps in my brain. Oh, it's just like eating. Like I have to eat a balanced diet, or I have to eat to survive, but I can't eat too much. I have to not eat. I have to try and maybe not eat all the cookies to also feel better, but I can't eat too little. So it's just where is the middle that's the most efficient? So let me see what else I wrote about this one. No, that's kind of it. Like this chapter it's such I find it a difficult concept, but then also it's kind of not difficult. I find it hard to do in real life because I want to eat all the cookies, but I can't eat all the cookies. And I do find it really fascinating that the two authors just kind of converge on this in this area. Like, I think you could probably study it and never really understand it or just get it in a minute, but it's a big thing to study. So I'm not doing it justice at all by just like breaking it down to this one little thing, but that's the way that I can understand it the best. So forgive me. That's this chapter. So chapter 18. Did you guys have anything about this one that I find so challenging? All right. We will move on to the final chapter, which is called The Loving Eyes of God. So he talks about how, everything we have read about God, everything we hear about God, it's like in a book, in a text, in a scripture, in something that is in some way been edited, or someone's written about God and then somebody will go and write something else that shows that this is God. And he says that we can't really know God by knowing any of the things that are written in books. It's something that we know when we release ourselves. And I found this chapter difficult too, but that just gives me so much peace because I've never really been a religious person. I grew up, my dad is Jewish, my mom's Episcopalian. We never really had any of the holidays. The holidays we did have were all around food and gifts, which I think is fantastic because I got all the joy and all the cultural stuff, but I never really got any of the religious beliefs. But I I guess I feel like I've always kind of shied away of any organized religion. And so reading this about God and how it's not really in a textbook. It's something that you come to feel and come to know. And it's something that's inside us. It's not something outside us that is this thing that we can't really make any sense of. It's just within us. I love that. Like it seems to make so much sense to me. And he says that um as we release the personal self, we start to drift up and we move beyond fear and self-consciousness and judgment, because he says that God does not judge us. You know, we've got the Ten Commandments, thou must not kill, whatever they all are. They're like these rules that we think, okay, if we break them, if I kill, then that God is going to judge me. But what if I like kill a fly? Like what if I was killing in self-defense? Like there's no God is not judging us, regardless of what it is that we do, because there's always a reason for something that we did. Even if, let's say, I'm a serial killer, which I am not, there is a reason that a person becomes a serial killer. Like they had an upbringing that was horrific. They something happened in their life to cause them to move through in order to become a serial killer, which then gave them some sense of something, like there's always a reason for something. And I know this is a really weird thing to talk about, but it all comes back to the point that God is not judging us, regardless of what, if I stole something when I was 15. Like it's just he does not judge. I find that really helpful too, because how often do I judge myself? So if I think about it like that, then I know that nobody's judging myself but me, like I'm the one judging myself. So why do I do it? Why don't I have that unconditional love for myself like God has? Why don't I show that unconditional love to everyone else around me? Why do I judge other people? And we do it in a second based on things we don't even, I mean, we all do it. I do it based on the color of skin. I do it based on men versus women. I do it based on if you have an accent. I do it immediately and I don't want to do it. And it's like a habit that I've, taken in, and I really work with myself very hard to be like, Carrie, there you go. You're judging again. And I think it's important to just be like, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm doing that. Like, why am I, we all, I mean, the political climate right now is crazy and people are like, no, that's not happening. It is happening. Like why don't we just like accept that it's happening and then try and work with it within ourselves? That's all we can do. I can't affect what anybody else is doing, but I certainly can say to myself that if I, you know, have a split second judgment of someone that I run into in the grocery store, I can notice it. I can be like, oh shit, there I did it again. A young person versus an old person. Oh, this young person doesn't know anything because they're young. Like it happens all the time in all of my whatever I'm doing. So work with myself on that judgment piece. I'm doing that all the time. And it helps me very much to remind myself that God does not judge. So why am I doing it? And he doesn't judge me. So here I am saying that I judge, and that God is not judging me for doing that. He or she knows that, I'm doing that because of my upbringing, because of my habits, because of my patterns, because what happened to me as a, person on this planet. I grew those judgments based on something. But I can certainly see them and work with them and release them. I love that. So he says that um, we stop walking around anxious and clenched and braced, and we start walking around just being this body of love when we can move through all of that. When we can release the stuff that we're carrying, when we can move through our habits, when we can move through our patterns, when we can move through the fact that we are judging, we just start to drift up and become this being of love, of unconscious love. Yes, please. I am very much looking forward to this. And he says that we have this natural divinity within us. It's within us and not in some textbook. Okay, what else did I write about this one? It's kind of all I have. All right. This was like another really heavy, big chapter that's hard for me to understand or talk about, but I think I did a kind of good job this time. It's really hard. I used to read through parts of it, but then I learned, and I wasn't reading totally, I was like condensing it. And I thought if I, there's a very long sentence and I had a lot of adjectives, and I thought if I like knocked out the adjectives and just got it down to the meat, I thought I could read it and land it better for me and for other people. And I thought I could put that out on YouTube, but I learned that you cannot do that because that is copyright infringement, even if you're knocking out the adjectives. So I was like, oh, can't do that. But it's so much harder. Like it's so much easier for me to like read through the book than it is to give you like my own synopsis of the chapter. I think it's like better for me though, because it makes me have to think about it more. So I'm like, you know, it's growing more, which is awesome. So, ladies, that is the end of this book. Do you guys have anything to talk about? I see my girlfriend Rebecca left me a message, but I can't read it right now because it's on my phone. All right, if you guys don't have anything, then we will wrap up this book club session. I am going to start this book in a few weeks. I can't give you the exact date because I am doing this one woman show on August 19th. I know it's like, what am I doing? It's called Worth It. I named a show about me called Worth It. What am I doing?
Yay!
I know it's going to be amazing, but it's also like a thing. Like you write it and then you memorize it and then you perform it. So it's a lot more. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that thing, and it was a 10-week thing, and now it's like, I mean, it's what, 17, 18 days out. So I'll be pausing on doing book club and then I'll start it up again after I do this show.
So is it going to be live?
It's going to be live in Berkeley. And you guys are all welcome to come if you want. I literally have not invited any of my family. My husband, he does not know what it's about. I've told him I'm not quite ready to bring him into it. My daughter asked me, "Is it a magic show? Like, what are you doing, Mom?" Like, it makes no sense to her, right? That I would be doing something like this. And she then asked, "Well, can I come see it?" And I was like, "I'm not ready for you to see it yet, but someday I'll open it up to people." So yes, it's live. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what I do with it. It's about um it's about something that happened to me, something that, okay, I'll just tell you. I was offered big I was offered $100,000 to sleep with a famous DJ. So that's what the story's about. And then it's about my own journey of going through like, am I worth that much? Like, and how it moved me through that, and then how I addressed it with my husband. And it's awesome because it's funny and it addresses like women and value, and I hope that it opens people's eyes to patriarchy. Like that's what I want it to land. So it's a really like personal, funny, humorous story that I want to use to inspire people to wake up. And I think it's going to do that. So we'll see.
Well, if they record it, it would be fun to see it.
Okay, awesome.
I can't come because I have the state fair. So
Yes, the state fair, it's big.
the last one, hopefully.
Yeah,
I mean, for us.
I have a feeling I have a feeling it's going to be a thing. Like I would like for this to be a thing. I would like for me to, I don't know, a one person show turns into like a 90-minute, an hour long thing. I don't know. But I would like for, and the people that I've told it to, they're like, wow, like I told it to this one woman who just started to cry because she's like, it totally encapsulates everything that we don't see. Like we just live in this world and we don't see it, that we value ourselves based on, you know, who wants us, basically. So I think it's going to land with a lot of people. And there's nothing after reading A Woman's Guide to Power, like there's literally nothing more exciting to me than waking people up to the fact that we're kind of all stuck um, in this like the rules that we've grown up in. So that's why it has me all on fire, but then also like very like, what am I doing?
Well, I just put clothes on. I was sitting here in my bra. That's why I was off camera. Just so I could come on and say, it kills me that I'm out of town and can't come see your performance. But when it gets picked up and you have another run, then I'll buy tickets then.
Awesome.
Come support you.
Woohoo. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, and I'm actually flying to Chicago that day, so I will not be able to make it, but I would love to see you live another time.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks, Fee. It's gonna be a thing. I'm just putting it out there right now. It's gonna be a thing. But let us wrap up today. Thank you for joining me in reading this book again. I can't wait to start reading this book again next time. And thank you all for taking yourselves on. There's nothing more important to me than doing this and also doing it within community. Like it just touches my heart that you have joined me and that we do this together. So thank you so much. And
Thank
I will
you.
see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Oh,
Bye.
All the best. We're sending you all the positive energy
Yay, yay.
for
Thank
your
you.
show.
Bye.
Thank you.